We all know the truth. Here's what I think we don't know. We don't know a truth that's got us. We are going to talk about the things that stop us, but what we don't know is that oftentimes lies are disguised as truths. Our lies are disguised as truth. The enemy cannot come up with new stuff. He just takes what God has done and he twists it. Know the truth will set you free. What does Satan not want for us? Freedom. Which is why, again, with disappointment, he's got us locked up in safety, security, stability. Why? Because he knows we are not free.
Yes.
And I'm drowning in a lie that I think is true. You still with me? Because
Yes.
we're getting ready to dive in.
Yes.
At this point, we got our goggles in. We're like right at the edge of the pool. Okay? Okay, so we go, well, how does this happen? How many of us would say we have thoughts that don't always serve us? And how many of us know the truth, but our day-to-day actions aren't in alignment with that truth? You know what I'm saying? Like, or how many has received a prophecy? And you're like, my today still does not look like that prophecy. And you're like, this is stupid. Maybe I heard him wrong. Maybe, I don't know what it is. All things. We would go, and so now my actions are not in alignment with the truth. I was in that spot 4 years ago. And I remember sitting down with my therapist because I had done all of the things and I knew all of them. So I sat down with my therapist and I go, look, I don't want couch therapy. I am a coach, so you're going to have to give me something a little bit more than the typical thing. And I said, and here's what also the problem is. I know all of the right things to do, and either A, I'm bored, B, I can't get myself to do them, or C, there's just got to be more. Like there's a disconnect. Anyone ever felt like that before too? You could even read the scripture and you're like, I hear you, but I can't, I don't know what it is, but I'm not seeing this happen in my life. She says to me, have you ever heard of cognitive behavioral therapy? I said, nope. I don't even know what you said. So she draws something on a piece of paper and she hands it over to me. And I take a look at it. I write her a check. I give her the check. I walk out the door because my life was never the same after this. Who's heard of cognitive behavioral therapy? Okay, great. Doesn't matter if you haven't. Either way. Here's what it starts to unpack. Cognitive behavioral therapy says, every thought that I have creates an emotion. Can you put that up there for me? Yes. Every thought creates an emotion. Now, here's where most of us get stuck. If you're my feelers or my emotionals in the room, how many of you are like, no, I don't think thoughts, I just do? Maverick, come on, Maverick, don't think, just do. That was like the line for me. I'm watching that movie with my husband and they say that and I looked at Travis and I was like, see? Don't think, just do. So as a feeler, I always thought, well, I don't really have a thought. That's not true. How many of you also feel like you're a little numb to your emotions? Like you're my thinkers, but you don't always feel. You're not super in tune with what you would call our emotions, okay? So a lot of times people skip this step because they're like, I don't really have any emotions. I just have thoughts and then I just do. Here's what cognitive behavioral therapy says though. Every thought creates an emotion. Every emotion creates your action. Every emotion creates your action. I take enough action over time, what will I have? Results. Pause right there. Here's my question for you real quick before we continue. You can put the word results up. Bingo, right there. Okay, so here's generally where we start to get stuck. How many of us would look at our results and we'd go, it's not what I want. It's not really what I want. And I'm going to give you some hard categories tonight. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, relationally. How many of you would look at some of those areas and go, my body weight is not what I want. My financial weight is not what I want. My relational weight is not really what I want. There's probably 1 of 5, if not 1 in every category that we go, that's not really the result that I want. True or true? Okay, so we all have at least one thing. Okay, so generally what we do is we take our results and we go and what do we change? Our actions. I find a different diet. I get a different diet book. I'll Google how to do this quicker, faster. I'll Google how to lose weight by eating more sugar. I mean, I'll try it all. You know what I'm saying? Like at some level, we're like, I don't even care. I just want the fastest way for this to be better. How do I make $1 million as fast as I possibly can? Like all of us just want instant gratification, do we not? Or am I the only one? Okay, so what most of us do is we take our results and we're like, oh, I don't really like that, so I'm going to change my action. I'm going to do something different. Fair. Until we're burnt out, or we even could lose the weight, but how many of us know we lose it, and then what do? We find it. No, it finds us. It finds us again. You know, you're like, I just lost you. Why did you find me again? I've been hiding, and you found me. Right? Or we've had a divorce. We get married again, and then what happens? Again, we do it again. Right? And so a lot of times now we're going, well, crap, that's not working either, because now I've changed my actions that I keep getting the results that I don't want. Right? Only then to go, see, I told you I couldn't have what I want. See, I told you that it's never fair. See, I told you that you're going to reject me. See, I told you that you're not going to believe me. See, I told you, and all of a sudden we see the last piece that we've never connected, which is our results then come back up and reaffirm our thought. This is why tonight I'm going to encourage you to lean in and to go, we should probably be thinking about what we're thinking about.
Yeah.
You probably write that down. You should probably be thinking about what we're thinking about. Last button. Why? Because do you know that actually your thoughts change the chemistry of your brain? Let me give you an example here. I didn't make it very far in science class, so believe me, I'm not. This is as scientific as I get. Do you know that every time you think a thought, you create a path on the brain? The more I think it, the wider the path gets. The wider it gets, the easier it is to think the thought.
Yep.
I have a thought. I entertain the thought. I have the thought again. Now all of a sudden I have a highway on my brain that believes it to be true. But then the interesting thing about it is now I run this thing out a couple times. I have a thought that might say, I don't know that I'm good enough. I don't know that there is enough. I might be rejected for who I am. I might not be loved for who I am. And that thought all of a sudden starts to create emotions. Even for us who say we don't feel our emotions, I'd like to propose that the only reason you don't feel emotions is because they don't feel safe.
Wow.
So it's not actually that God created you to not feel your emotions. You learned to not feel them. It was safer not to. Back to that point of disappointment. Why I was numb for 29 years. Also why I drink alcohol. My story in sobriety is not that I drank a lot. I drank often. You know, like it's Monday. It's a good time to have a glass of wine. It's Friday, Wednesday, Sunday. It's Monday through Sunday. Why? Because I needed to take some sort of the edge off. Anyone ever been there too? I just need to take the edge off. I just need to unwind. Call it alcohol, call it food, call it sugar. We all have our thing. I just don't really want to feel that much. And so it might just be easier to kind of numb it out or to kind of just take the edge off. And what I'm now asking is for it to give me what God is. I outsourced my comfort.
Come on, girl.
I outsource my comfort. I call it alcohol. And then I just run in a circle of friends who continue to kind of chalk it up as normal. When really, the root of it, the thing under the thing, was that I actually picked up a glass of alcohol because it taught me and showed me that I couldn't feel. And when I didn't feel, I didn't have to face the fact that I was hurting. If I didn't have to face the fact that I was hurting, I could just keep running on this hamster wheel, pretending like it was fine, until one day you go, it's not fine. I'm not born for fine.
Yeah.
So what we're going to invite those who go, well, I don't really want to feel the emotion. I'm going to ask you just to start to tell yourself, I don't actually believe that God designed you to not feel it. I think you learned to not feel it. And part of stepping into understanding the revelation that God has for us is that you're going to have to be willing to unlearn tonight. This weekend is not going to be just about all the things that you can learn. It's going to be about unlearning. Because oftentimes it's not what we know that hurts us, it's what we think we know that just isn't so. So what happens is we get in this pattern that we have a thought, then it becomes an emotion, the emotions create the actions create the results, and then because we as people like to be right, don't look at your spouse. That's not what I'm talking about. we like to be right, even about the wrong things, it continues to prove that this is true.